그만 울어도 돼 별일이 아니니 맘이 얼기설기 얽혀있을 뿐이니 지나면 그런 대로 괜찮아질 테니까 믿어도 돼 모두 그랬듯이 할 얘길 먹으리 정리하려고 해 의식을 치러도 삶은 계속될 텐데 괜찮아 여기에 우리가 있다는 걸 기록하고 있어 기억해줄래 맑은 물방울 떨어지기 전에 처음 보았던 구름의 그림자 넓은 대지와 바다를 누비고 돌아갈 준비를 마친 한 장의 사진처럼 비가 되어도 보이지 않아도 기억해줄래 구름의 그림자 우리 마음이 구름이 되던 기적 어디든 떠올라 세상을 유영하며 만든 기적 지금 같은 모습은 아니더라도 어디에든 있을 테니 사라지는 것들에 슬퍼하지만 너와 함께 있을 테니 너와 나 사이 누구든 기억하면 우린 함께 있을 테니 걱정하지 않아도 돼 맑은 물방울 떨어지기 전에 처음 보았던 구름의 그림자 넓은 대지와 바다를 누비고 돌아갈 준비를 마친 한 장의 사진처럼 비가 되어도 보이지 않아도 기억해줄래 구름의 그림자 우리 마음이 구름이 되던 기적 어디든 떠올라 세상을 유영하며 만든 기적
Right, I should stop playing with the P term and, oh, I haven't got a window. Hang on a mo. We can fix this. Which one of these? Dwarf Fortress, that's probably a good thing to share, isn't it? There. Right, there we are. A Dwarf Fortress. So, yes, welcome back to Keskalokil, my dwarven fortress by the sea. Here is the sea. It is very wet. But it is mostly not getting into the fortress, unlike the aquifers, which are kind of flooding some of the mine workings. They're not dangerously flooding the mine workings because aquifers have been so comprehensively nerfed in current Dwarf Fortress. Or at least most of them have been. But nonetheless, the mine workings are kind of full of water, and it would be nice to get the water out, and it would be nice to have an organised way of getting the water out of our mine workings. Rather than like trying to wall off the aquifers or digging great big caverns to catch the water in. Like we've got another leak somewhere down here, here where I've just walled off the aquifer bit, only I clearly haven't done it quite well enough because there's still some water getting out there. And can't we just do this in a more organised way? And so last time I set to work doing that, and we have a bunch of windmills up here, a bunch of screw pumps forming a stack that goes down well below I hope, all of the aquifer layers and all of the mine workings. And we can sort out some like channels to collect the water down there and pump it up through the pump stack out into the river, where we hope it will just flow harmlessly into the sea. So that's the plan. And now, yes, we're going to see if we can accomplish it. Excuse me, I just need to reorganise my IRC, which I bizarrely can't do while talking at the same time. And then no, wrong order. Yes, I really want to quit. And then run the same command again. Right. Clearly all the exciting stuff just happened in IRC in the 20 seconds I was not on.
Nothing happened.
Right. So, yes, we're building a drainage system. We had some other interesting things happen. The Dwarven caravan turned up again and didn't trade again. Jacob's reading of the wiki suggested that maybe this might happen if the wagons couldn't park properly, and they had apparently tried to park directly over the entrance to the fortress, so that didn't seem entirely implausible. As a result, I have now moved the fortress entrance, moved the trade depot some distance away from the entrance to the fortress. It's notable here, for instance, that there is an entire pile of stuff that I think was left by the trade caravan. So, I mean, I think that may be a symptom of an exploding wagon. I did find one piece of wagon wood lying around as well, which suggests the wagon actually failed. When they finally do trade, will they even want all these goblets, crowns, crutches, masterwork cheeses, etc.? Well, they won't pay over the odds for them anymore, but like I'm sure they'll take them away nonetheless. Ultimately, you can pretty much force the caravan to take things away by just giving them to the parent civilization, and as long as it's not over their weight limit, there's not much they can do about it. So I think something I could possibly usefully do is to build like some kind of a road around here to mark the area the caravans might want, because they want to park, in particular there's some boulders and I think we want to clear the boulders. Can I just mark those for smoothing? I wonder if that works. We'll see. We might draw like a four square wide road around the trade depot to mark the parking space that we shouldn't fill with cruft, boulders, floor hatches, farm plots or anything else. Goblins in cages, goblin heads on spikes, well, on pedestals. We're still trying to build a staircase here, which I hope is accessible, to retrieve that goblin head from the tree.
Surely it's not accessible unless it's got a wheelchair ramp.
Well, yeah, okay, we're doing it with a staircase rather than a ramp, sorry, because ramps are more complicated to build up into trees.
I give you that. On the other hand, you'd have to spiral them around the trunk, and then the dwarfs would have great fun spiraling back down again. If you put water at the bottom, they'd learn to swim.
Yes, well, I did actually wonder if we could use mine carts as a swimming training mechanism. I also wondered if we could use mine carts as a hurling goblins out into the sea mechanism.
And then you'd get the two minecarts confused.
Yes, that would be dangerous. I don't think we want to hurl dwarves out into the sea, at least not until they've really learned to swim. So, as I recall, last time I did get somewhat confused about what I was doing with my mining, with my sewers with my with the passages that will eventually collect water, and I think I have not exactly made a mess of it, but I think I think I know now how I should construct them, and thus know that I've got them kind of wrong, I think, or at least I have an idea of how they ought to work now, which is that I should build them like fairly close to your typical video game sewer, in that there should be a 1 square wide channel at Z level -10, which is where the water is, and then on Z level -9 there should be a walkway beside the channel so that dwarves can get at it, maintain it, dig new bits of channel, and we can probably have some floodgates that are just at Z -10 that can then be overtopped if anything goes badly wrong and we need to get the water out before it floods Z -9. And then we can add new bits to the system merely by cutting through the sides of this by channeling from above, which I think will work reasonably nicely. Plus, then we have a proper like sewer that people can crawl through, or at least run through. Pinkbee says, video game sewer full of giant rats, luminous fungi and implausible amounts of sewage given the WC hasn't been invented. Well, it's all going to be clean water because see previous. But yes, more or less, I'm like, if we find any giant rats, we can definitely stuff them down here. Certainly implausible amounts of space. So that, I think, means that we aren't in general going to be sending people down to this Z level very much, Z level -10, or at least not in the sewerage system. So I think thus, that door is currently unlocked. I think thus I should actually remove these walls. Not all of them, not the ones that are keeping the water out of the mine workings, though I should probably not work these mines for now. But the ones whose sole purpose is to like separate the mine workings from the ordinary ground, the sewer channel from the ordinary ground. And then I should start actually digging something more or less the shape that I want. Right, it is now officially winter, and therefore various people have changed their official roles. We are terrifyingly well off for food. So people become civilian or military depending on whether their particular squad is in training mode or not. So it says a bunch of people became axe dwarf, hammer dwarf, etc., and a bunch of people became, well, mostly surgeons, because that's what my fortress is full of.
That's what they are in their off days, yes.
I mean, to be fair, surgery wielding a battle axe, kind of similar, just on different scales. Right, so now if we forbid that door so that no one accidentally opens it again, then it's okay to flood that space. Just checking that nothing important is happening in IRC. So then what we obviously need to do is to say we're going to want, actually no, let's do this as though we're building it as an extension to an existing sewer, as an existing drain system, even though we're not. So we'll dig a small tunnel here, and then we're going to want to, the first thing we want to drain is obviously just over here. It's really not very far away at all. So then No, let's put it 1 square further out, actually. Then let's dig a tunnel to there, and we'll make that our first little bit of sewer. So, dig, 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 dig. I'm hoping we're below all the aquifers here, so that this is essentially the only bit of serious drainage we need. But if we need to extend the pump stack downwards, that's fine. Yes, the crowns are crowning. Right, then we have some grates. Right, let's stick a door in here to separate the flooded bit from the non-flooded bit, or the bit that might turn out to flood if unhappiness happens. Build doors. Yeah, I have no doors. How embarrassing. Make some rock doors then, please. Right. So then, if we're going to want this to be a useful drainage thing, we should dig a channel along there. Oh goodness, another vile force of darkness. They're seeking a parley. Well, I mean, we could talk to them, but we've sorted out boots now, so we're probably not going to give them anything. In order to avert loss of life, well, we will, but...
Whose life?
Yes. We think we're pretty well armed this time. Let's see what have you brought? Eh? How scary are you?
Do you think you're hard enough?
Yes.
Do we think you're hard enough?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They've brought 10 dwarves, 10 goblins, of whom...
3 are yellow and 1's red. What do the colours mean?
So the colours relate to their expertise in weapons. So the yellowish ones are labelled spearmen or pikemen, and the greenish ones are crossbowmen and bowmen, and the red one is a maceman. So the crossbow goblins...
So you go, stop, hammer dwarf.
Yes. Crossbow goblins appear to have helms, but otherwise no useful armour. Goblin spearmen have a spear, iron mail shirt, copper helm, iron chain leggings, iron gauntlets, copper boots. Ooh, that might not last long. We know how dangerous it is not to have good enough boots. Maceman probably also has... Yeah, so they are reasonably well armoured, but there are only 10 of them, and I do have 30 military dwarves well, trained might be going a bit far. Can we see their skills actually? Yes. Skilled maceman, yeah, that might be a bit exciting. Skilled pikeman. So they seem to have turned up with skilled military types. I can just check here, can't I? If we randomly...
Kind of force where in a different game you unleash the Bronze Colossus.
Yeah, we don't have a Bronze Colossus. If we pick one of our spear dwarves, what are your skills like? Legendary surgeon, but only a competent spear dwarf. And a bit rusty at that. Also, apparently, only currently, yes, you're currently picking up your equipment. Good, because you're currently dressed solely in a shield. That's not going to be good enough. That's going to be an embarrassment. And it's going to be an embarrassment where our vast quantity of surgeons are going to have a lot of practice.
Come back with your shield or dressed.
See, that's more sensible. Iron boots, iron mail shirt, iron helm, iron gauntlets, bismuth bronze spear for some reason. So yeah, I think unlike the last one where I was feeling that we were under equipped for dealing with melee combat, I think this time we are probably adequately equipped. But let's see what they want. Meanwhile, we'll carry on digging some holes in the ground. It should now be the case that my mare is off going for a meeting. Maybe, yes, there. Mare attend parley. Which of course involves going around the end of the river because the goblins always seem to arrive from the east. Like, the goblins have always turned up at the same place on the map. I do wonder if I should just, like, leave a great big lake of lava or something there. That would obviously require having some lava, which is slightly fiddly.
If they do turn up with crossbow goblins.
Okay, they've now got rather more than 10.
That's a lot of goblins.
Yes. You think that threat honours is the property of your people, do you? What is threat honours then?
For goodness sake, don't give away that you can't. Don't have a faintest idea what it is.
There it is. That's the mayor's own maple sceptre. Well, I don't think it's appropriate for the mayor to hand over his own sceptre.
It's actually the bronze bale from the wicket gate.
Yes.
That's a ton of goblins.
Yeah, they've got about as many as we've got military dwarves.
They don't know what they're doing.
What are their distribution of weaponry like? They're mostly melee. thus mostly decently armoured based on what we've seen. Well, I don't really think it's appropriate to let them take the mayor's sceptre, whatever happens. Right, meanwhile, here we have most of that channel dug. So we're going to need to cut an access into the yeah, let's do this from this side slightly cheatily. So that's there. Right. So we can kind of hope that this works all right. Let's get all of my squads stationed on the surface. Oops. And we'll kind of check that they've properly equipped themselves. We'll at least politely pretend we're engaging in diplomacy.
Jacob asked a vital security question.
Is my drain goblin proof? Let's make it so. I mean, at the moment it's actually not connected to the fortress. So technically it won't let anyone into the fortress. But on the other hand, it will, if there is anyone in there, they won't be protected. So let's arrange that it can be closed off at the top. The fortress itself now is not only goblin proof, it's troll proof, in that the entrance grate, the entrance hatch is now an artifact, and thus I believe can't be demolished. So military dwarves are now coming up to the surface. Some of them at least are properly dressed for the job. Meanwhile, I hope someone will be fairly hurriedly taking a floor hatch over to the drainage systems. Yep, there goes a child carrying a floor hatch. Right, so I think some of my dwarves, admittedly also dizzy from exposure to the sunshine, might actually have... No, it's still only adequate spear dwarf. Well, they'll learn.
Dizzy from exposure to sunshine. I mean, come on. I mean, you know, we'd be pretty dizzy from exposure to sunshine, and we've hardly seen any recently.
Right, there is now a floor hatch at the top of the drain, so that it is possible to seal them in, to seal the goblins out. We have a bunch of dwarves standing around in. We should probably advance them a little bit so that they can, so that they're at the convenient choke point. And yes, I don't think you get to keep threat honours, because that's definitely ours. We made it, and it's the symbol of our mayor. And I've checked the wiki, and the mayor should get to leave with his life if he hasn't left already. Because the goblins are not wholly without honour. What are you doing? I mean, one, why do we have a Mark's dwarf? Two, I appreciate that you're being exasperated by being out in the rain, but don't rush up to the goblins and hug them. Precisely, stand on the other side of the river from them. Like you have a station order. Your station order says here. Up by the not by the beehives, by the wash house. Stoat, you're going to get yourself in some serious trouble down there. Like, I mean, you are at least reasonably well dressed. Despite being a Mark's dwarf, you've apparently got a battle axe. So am I going to make any effort at saving you? No, because running into an enormous mob of goblins is not wise. We wait up here for the enormous mob of goblins to run into us. Indeed, possibly we tackle the enormous mob of goblins underground, but I think I don't want to try doing that right now. Maybe you'll see the goblins and be terrified. No, apparently the goblins are currently leaving you alone. What are you doing?
Well, have you had the parley yet?
We have had the parley. I have told them to go away. But I think we're still in the kind of truce stage.
Let the mayor get back to the
Yes. And apparently that's also
perfectly fine for your scout to go
wandering round. Right, and we've smoothed the boulders around the trade depot. Several of my dwarves are dizzy from the sun. Well, we'll leave them out there and hope that they get better. Now she is apparently heading back into the fortress for reasons unknown. It looks like the dizziness is mostly passing.
Yeah, as a helpful comment, but even 10 minutes ago was telling you what you should have done before then.
Right, so meanwhile down here, I think let's remove some of those ramps, and then we'll see if we can construct some floodgates. Okay, two of my dwarves have decided that the best way to station themselves somewhere near here is to station themselves in the wash house, which, yes, is technically nearby.
This seems like something that combat-shy Roman legionaries would do in Asterix.
It feels very much like there is some comedy involved here.
Me? Oh no, I'm on fatigues. I can't go out fighting.
You're hiding behind the door and everything with front or something.
Right, the goblins have started to move. Let us do our usual thing of allowing the animals to escape. Not that they would. Seem to be slightly too many civilian dwarves around here.
Very good. Jacob says hiding in the wash house makes it easier to show them a clean pair of heels.
Yes.
Showing some clean pair of heels is a euphemism for running away.
I've not heard that.
A metaphor or something.
Right, and now the dwarves have started rushing towards the goblins, and the goblins are thinking about rushing towards the dwarves.
They're not thinking about maybe rushing in the opposite direction. This seems sensible.
Stukos Isethonol is in a martial trance, which would be excellent if they... Oh, they're proficient axe dwarf. Do they have an axe? Yes, steel battle axe, full steel armour. Might be in a decent state for this job. Who knows?
Sorry, in my core game, the weasel scampers to and fro. Well, okay, technically the weasel scampered to and fro. It's now.
Right, well, we can see... Oh, several goblins appear to be attempting to leap over the river. Bold.
And therefore they have non-black background colours indicating they're soggy.
Yeah, well, indicating they're airborne. Cyan background means airborne. Brown background, as in this one, means prone, and well, yes, bleeding. Someone has already got her. Yes, even if you're wearing iron gauntlets, if someone clouts you with a battle axe, it's going to hurt, and a hammer works even better. Right, you can stop now. She's lost her sword. She's not going to do anything that matters. Problem is, they're now going to insist on beating this goblin to death rather than getting on with the next goblin. I mean, possibly with some targeted kill orders, I could avoid that problem. I notice there is some mist here. Yes, 2 goblins have not successfully jumped the river.
successfully turned into a pile of mist?
They can be underwater.
They are currently in the river, 1 Z level down. Now,
Can goblins swim? There's another one further.
yeah, that one's dead. That's a skeleton, a goblin skeleton in the river from a previous invasion. Skills, other skills. Novice swimmer might be able to get out of a river. Novice swimmer again.
Does armour make you sink in this world?
I think it makes you less likely to be able to get out of the water, but I'm not sure. Right, one of the goblins is drowning, having been stunned by falling into the river. Also exasperated by the fact that it's raining out there. This one is not currently drowning, so might survive. Yes, biting the goblins is not going to work. They are better armoured than that.
Masterwork, diamond teeth.
Jutton says, I think BJH21's military doctrine is hit it with a hammer on the basis that archery training is faff. Yep, that's basically it. I've done archery in the past. We're going for hitting things with hammers this time. I've also done trying to build siege engines. And like so far, this is going pretty well. Right, 3 of the goblins are in the river now. 2 of them are drowning. Four goblins in the river.
How many Ogons are? No.
I feel as if there ought to be a manoeuvre where you kind of poke them back into the river when they're just about to get out or something.
Yeah, we're not quite close enough for that, sadly. They might be able to dodge into the river up here. Oh, indeed. There is a dwarf who has dodged into the river. Yeah, that's not going to go well.
Well, this is where they wish they'd got their swimming practicing.
Yeah. So who's that? How did they get there? Cog Vodinod. Yes, the goblin mace man attacks the dwarf, but he jumps away. Sadly, sadly, he's dodged into the river. There goes another goblin to join him. Let's have a quick glance at some of the... Wow, that's quite some punch. You've punched the goblin spearman in the head so hard that you've not only destroyed their right eye, you also appear to have broken their neck. As in, you've bruised a tendon in the upper spine, which has caused them to lose hold of their shield and their spear and fall over. Which does seem like... Yeah, that was quite some punch.
It's possible that what these dwarves lack in formal training, they're making up an enthusiasm.
Yes.
Also, I mean,
Every dwarf is basically Sir Boris.
have they, damaged their knuckles or anything? In this?
Not as far as I could tell. let's have a look at the person that the. So that was. Oh, we don't know. It was a mace dwarf. Oh, was that Cogvodinod? No, that was a different mace dwarf.
It seems odd that you can't find out directly from who long
No.
Mace Dwarf, which
Who was the other side of this fight? Some goblins may have made it out of the water. I think we should probably instruct the dwarves to station slightly further forward in case any of them are holding back. Oh, sudden spew of teeth. Someone just got punched in the mouth, excessively enthusiastically, I expect.
you're going to be picking up teeth for weeks, aren't you?
Yes. See, that at least was a kick in the head that didn't actually cause someone to die immediately.
It did explode their nose, though.
Yes. Which is probably not going to be very pleasant. Right, the goblins are still bravely leaping across the river.
How many of them out in the drink?
Currently still, I think they are doing a pretty decent job of climbing out, actually. Only one officially drowning. 2 in the water but not yet drowning. 1 dwarf who is both thirsty and drowning. Oh, there's another goblin in the river not yet drowning. So I think falling in the river is mostly just slowing them down.
We're assuming this is paying off.
Which isn't nothing. I mean, if you have to fight a similar, if you have to fight
Yes.
the same number of opponents as yourself, then fighting them in 2 halves is definitely preferable.
Right, that's 1 definitely dead dwarf. Oster, also Costa, is that a dwarf? A dwarf goblin. Well, it's labelled with a G, so I assume that's a... Oster doesn't sound like a goblin name. Oh, there it is. So the one whose nose exploded, then basically got bashed repeatedly until a copper helm turned out to be not much good against an iron morning star.
Yeah. I mean, it's propelled, but not enough.
We've got quite a lot of martial trances going on.
Warmed up, finally.
And at least some dwarves are coming out to help now.
Thanks, Rob. You're giving me ammo for a launcher I don't have.
So was that someone successfully... So the goblins' copper boots don't seem to be doing them much good, which is nice.
Which is what you predicted.
Yes. So there's the swords dwarf being somewhat hurt, which is bad. But yes, silver scimitar not much good against an iron low boot.
Of course, dwarf combat is all about materials science.
Oh yes, there's an entire sections on like sheer strength of different metals for judging what will happen when you hit this material low boot with that material hammer or spear or what have you.
I feel as if in the dwarven library there's probably self material. It would be sheer poetry.
Thank you. Oh dear, Cog Vodinod's fallen in the drink. Or was Cog Vodinod the one who'd already fallen in the drink?
There's a scary looking row of 7 goblins down south.
Yeah, well, as long as they stay there, that's fine.
One wonders what they're doing, sitting there being a rear guard or something.
Yes.
Waiting
Hiding.
to see if their mates do well.
Well, yes, if we kill enough of them, the rest will flee. You seem like you might be in trouble, Athel Fash Besmar. How are you doing? Oh, of course, we can now click on a creature and go combat log. Okay, you seem to be doing all right. Despite that crowd of goblins around you. Indeed, one of them just fell in the river. Current score on the river is 2 dwarves and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 goblins. 9 goblins. Not counting any that have drowned already, but I don't think anyone's had time to drown yet. And we've got at least 2 dead goblins here. Missed. An arrow sails past Athel Fash Besmar, who is tired, but otherwise apparently uninjured. Oh yeah, slightly bruised. Her right hand is bruised. Well, yes. Oops, didn't mean that button. I meant that button. Yes, the flying silver arrow misses her. Goblin pikeman misses her. And presumably she's about to bash said pikeman with a morning star again. Chipping the bone through the chain leggings. Then punches him in the face. Oh, well, that seems to have done that. Dealt with that. Bashed him in the head with the morning star. Oh, it doesn't actually appear to be dead quite yet. Yes. Plus, like, at the level of punching goblins so as to break their legs. Surely he's dead now. Like, you've bashed him in the head several times.
Several arteries.
Right, the injured party's cloven asunder, damn it. Right, dead goblin pikeman. Right. Still some dwarves, some goblins around who need mincing, but...
Have you got overall statistics?
Uh,
What's the score? Not to put too fine a point on this.
I'm not sure we can easily... Well, actually, there's one way yes, I can quite easily tell, can't I? We started off with 30 dwarves. They started off with 30 goblins, I think. So if we ignore the ones who are busy drowning, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh, we don't count that one, 17. So I think they've got about 17 still both alive and above water.
But some of those are not fighting. Some of those are like contingent of 7 in the south.
Yes, I think in particular the bowmen are mostly hanging back. We can see these green ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bowmen.
I mean, hanging back is sensible for a bowman, but hanging back like within bow range and shooting.
Well, they have been. There have been a bunch of arrows going past here.
Oh, right, okay.
Can't see any at the moment, but yeah, but the thing is, my dwarves are not bad with shields, and all have shields, and so they can often block. I don't think any of them have yet been hit with an arrow. Right, how are my numbers doing then? That squad still has 10 members. That squad still has 10 members, but 2 of them are drowning. That squad still has 10 members, but 2 of them are drowning. So currently it looks like our major problem is that our dwarves can't swim well enough. See, I should have been training them at swimming better.
Oh, you weren't trying. It was just a giant fact.
Yes. It turns out our big problem is not the fact that everyone is merely competent with their weapons. It's that they can't swim.
The colour scheme is very 1980s in that panel.
So, just looking around the dwarves, the goblins who are actually in the like battlefield, and they are all bleeding, and there are only 3 of them, as far as I can see. So that seems pretty good. I think underneath this load of dwarves there's a bunch more dead goblins. Keep seeing things go splish.
It's a goblin patrol.
So what's that? That appears to be an airborne tooth. And another one there. I mean, I presume they're airborne because they're over the river. I'm a little suspicious, my dear Goblin Lasher. Oh no, there's actually 1 square of land there that you've landed on in the middle of the river. Well done. See, there's a flying arrow, which appears to have hit a tree.
Wow.
Oh, so yes, that little island appears to be useful as a staging post for goblins.
Put some anti-goblin traps on.
Build a bridge out there, carefully lay a trap, and then go away. Then remove the bridge again. The beekeeper's been stung by a honeybee.
Yeah.
Right, it looks like this poor goblin may now be the only one in the like battle area. Unpause very briefly. Right, they've now been mobbed by 3 dwarves, and have fallen in the river. So, who looks... is there someone unhappy here? You're tired. You're tired. Martial trance. So there still doesn't seem to be much problem apart from drowning for my dwarves. So it looks like the last few... That dwarf is not yet... That goblin is not yet drowning. Oh! Dwarves leaping across the river now. I'm not sure that's wise, you know.
You should learn from your enemy's mistakes.
Yes. In particular, leaping across the river immediately gets you covered in crossbow bolts.
I thought you were so covered in goblins.
That's going to come a bit later. Like, the arrows are hitting you hard enough that even though they're deflected, it's still bad for your knee joint.
Well, crossbow bolts are nothing to mess around with.
No.
You know, they're the reason people... One of the reasons people started using plate armour as opposed to chain armour.
Yes. You mean the way the flying silver arrow strikes the spear dwarf in the left upper arm, chipping the bone through the iron mail shirt.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Right, well, in that case, I think it's time to order whatever of my military are still around, and like it doesn't look like most of them are drowning, and say, kill all. Given that people are advancing across the river, I think now we don't try to hold ourselves back to here. I think we've probably got few enough goblins above the water that the right thing is to say, kill all the remaining goblins. Come on, how do I do this? Do I just do that? Right. So kill those 8 goblins. Okay, there's another goblin there who possibly wants to be on that list. Or possibly they don't. Oh, I've apparently added that one to the list. Okay, confirm, kill goblins. Don't think they're going to be there for very long anyway. Yes. Okay, quite a lot of the dwarves appear to have fallen in the river while trying to cross it. Stoats. I mean, they seem to be getting through the goblins pretty effectively, mind, but quite a lot of them are in the water. Right, we have slaughtered all of the goblins. However, 4 dwarves are already drowned, and I fear that that there are several more who are going to be that way quite soon. 2 more who are still, 3 more, 4, 5, 6. Right, 7. We are going to have lost 0 goblins.
And how many dwarves?
0 dwarves to goblins, and about 10 dwarves to drowning.
Yes, well, the municipal swimming pool.
Right, we are totally going to learn to swim. Hey, Pinkney says goblins, next time give us the stupid sceptre. We came out of it ahead. I mean, I could pave the river, but I think it's much better if the river is more deadly to goblins than it is to dwarves. That's what we want.
Are things like current modelled in this or not?
A little bit.
I was just wondering if you get the 2 metre style current where you're whisked off downstream never to be seen again.
Could do, but the river does. I don't think the river has it.
Okay.
So, I mean, we could look through all of the combat logs, but I don't think that's necessary. Like,
I mean, if the combat logs were uniformly goblins got killed, dwarfs did not get killed by combat.
I mean, there was that one dwarf who, like, leapt over the river. The first dwarf to leap over the river was, did end up, yes, is serious. I think that's this one, seriously injured. Like, continued doing a pretty decent job. But yes, was fundamentally in trouble because of leaping across the river towards a bunch of goblins with ranged weapons when no one else was leaping across the river.
Follow me, oh bugger.
You're seriously injured. Were you seriously injured in this fight? Yes, again, arrows chipping bone through mail shirts. Like, not actually a fatal problem in that kind of injury isn't going to kill you unless it renders you sufficiently helpless that that you're not going to be able to recover. So how? Wondering if there's a practical way to clean this river. I think we may need to build a bridge out to this little island just to get this mace dwarf off. Because now that they're not in a battle, they're, I think, rather reluctant to leap across, go randomly leaping across rivers. Which, like, is good. People keep drowning. Right, we're going to need... Let's assume that we can't easily get those bodies out of the river. We're going to need some slabs. Lots of slabs. So let's initially hope for some... Don't think you are. I think you just stood up, didn't you? Oh no. doing his or her very best not to feel sad about the drownings of various dwarves. Right, I hope someone's going to come and recover you. Do we have a couple of recovered wounded jobs out there?
You're not got a situation where all your dwarves are surgeons and none of them are paramedics.
There is going to be a bit of that, right? We do have 2 surgeons recovering wounded, which I think is the correct number. I think we have 2 seriously wounded dwarves there and there. Yeah, I think we obviously need a means for this poor dwarf to get back. So let's build a pier out to that island for at least a little bit. One of my dwarves has withdrawn from society to start making a artifact of some sort. This surgeon who has come out into the sun is now dizzy and nauseous as a result of coming out into the sun. But will recover this injured dwarf really. Here we go. Heave. The other injured dwarf looks like they're being recovered as well. And indeed are in bed being diagnosed. Presumably now we have a diagnosis. Oh right, just a torn wrist, that's fine. Oh yes, we should get the animals back to where they belong, I think. Or maybe we should, well, yeah, the goblins all stayed on this side of the wash house. We can probably safely drag the animals back out to the surface. So that just needs suturing and dressing. That's not going to be much hassle. Right, do we have a second dwarf in bed? How are you feeling? We don't know quite what's wrong with you yet. Looks like you're going to need slightly more work. Yes. Well, we've got crutches. I am slightly wondering if it's practical to drain some of the river to get these bodies out. But that's going to be quite a lot of work. Right. So hopefully now Stackwood can actually get off this island. Yes, there we go. What? You just carefully stepped off that island which you weren't willing to jump off and then leapt across another branch of the river. You're weird, sir. Or possibly madam. Right. So, what's that alert about? Oh yes, lots of people are dead. Yes, yes, we're going to deal with the dead people soon. First, let us deal with the living. Why are you dragging that donkey that way? Why is there a dead donkey, a donkey skeleton in the Surgeons Guild Hall? Right, one of our dwarves has now been adequately repaired and has left the hospital. This one will take a little longer, I fear. Right, and we have a third dwarf in the hospital. Don't yet know what is wrong with them, but we'll find out soon enough. Really, we will. I think several dwarves turned up to help with the diagnosis there. Right, yes, that's going to take a little while. But fundamentally nothing difficult there. Sutures, dressings, immobilise broken limbs, all will be fine. Presumably if we just watch this, we will slowly see new events happening as they maybe. Not sure if that's actually updating as things happen. Maybe it is. Slightly concerned you don't seem to have been cleaned. But maybe... Oh, there's another alert. Right. Zuntir Asmelzalis. Oh dear. That's a very familiar name. Where did you manage to drown then? Manage to drown somewhere where no one can see you. Well, meanwhile, let's construct a couple of floodgates down here, if we can. Like if I've got some floodgates. Yeah, I've got one gypsum floodgate. Let's make a batch of floodgates. so that you now just need a crutch and immobilisation of your leg. Oh, we found... No, that's just Zuntir Asmalzalis has been missing for a while. Let's just check how you're getting on in your craft horse workshop. That looks like you might need things, yes. So cloth, wood and cut gems should not be hard to find. Similarly bones, though I might want to check that we've still got some bones left. If not, I'll just slaughter something. Yeah, we've got plenty of bones. So I think your problem is you don't have any glass. I mean, let's have a look. We seem to have plenty of raw glass. What are you short of then? Leather. Surely we have leather. Leather. Cut gems, I'll check. Wood, we've got plenty of wood. I can see the wood. Bones, leather. Glass, we've got all three kinds of glass. Okay, I think actually we may be short of cut gems. Like there is a cut gems job, but I think someone's actually going to need to take that, which should happen soon. So you're currently at diagnosis required. Someone come and diagnose these guys. It's slightly embarrassing how many surgeons we've got and how little work actually seems to be going on in this hospital. There's someone who needs diagnosis. Do we actually have anyone scheduled for diagnosing a patient? No, that's a bit curious. There is an apply cast job at least, which might be helpful. Yes, I know you've claimed it. I'm kind of hoping that someone... Oh, we don't actually have enough rough gems lying around to do gem cutting. Right, I need to actually go and mine some more gems because we've encrusted everything with them.
I've had a vague idea that most of your source of gems was happening to find them while you were looking for something else.
Yes. I mean, we could probably turn down the threshold for when we start cutting gems to having a smaller number of them, but where is there on this layer that we've not explored? Like, it's getting damp down here, isn't it? Yes. It's not getting damp there, though. Well, actually, there's a gem cluster we can just mine right now. Which is probably not enough to get us up to the 20 that my... Yes, you're just in needing a mobilisation state. And you're still after diagnosis. Confused by that. I'm pretty sure we're not short of diagnosticians. That announcement appears to be empty. Right, well, we've got some more gems, but probably not enough. I mean, I could just then schedule, I suppose, manually schedule some cut gems jobs, which will probably do the job. Because we've probably got some, well, we have definitely got some in stock. Though people appear to be running around in circles carrying the gems. Let's make sure that those gems don't immediately get subsumed into being used to encrust finished goods. Also, why do we have an encrust finished goods job on this workshop? Surely encrust finished goods should all be done in that workshop. That, I think, might be why we keep getting the wrong things encrusted with gems. Right. Our moody dwarf has now begun a mysterious construction, so that's good. They've got water buffalo, cow bone and cow leather and raw green glass and cave spider silk cloth and maple logs and raw green glass and tapered baguette cut green jade, I think it was, and some apricot wood logs. Right. I am kind of suspicious of the way that despite all of our doctors, there are 2 injured dwarves in the hospital who don't seem to be getting treatment. Yes, the surgeons are mostly watching demonstrations of surgery rather than like dealing with the fact that there are some actually injured dwarves out here. Right, yes, I don't think I can use that to schedule engraving slabs, so I think I'll wait for my strange mood to pass before we start trying to engrave slabs. Let's start tidying up bits of goblin. At least bits of goblin that aren't in the river. Most of which are goblin teeth. Nothing's happened to this poor dwarf since the 26th of Moonstone. Are we, like, out of splints or something, maybe? There's splints and plaster aplenty in the in there. So that's most of the isolated teeth tidied up. So meanwhile, somewhere deep underground, we're trying to sort out some drains. So we've got a floodgate there. We can probably now install another one. Then we obviously want some levers to connect them to, which means we're going to need some mechanisms. I think to avoid confusion, I shall just put the levers next to the floodgates they operate, even though that will obviously make it a little bit inconvenient. When everything is flooding and we need to operate a floodgate, but we have found apparently a bug that causes doctors to occasionally not do their jobs. How inconvenient.
The bug record mentions that in the case that the bug reporter discovered, the problem seemed to be that the orderly's work detail was set to everyone does this, and that didn't quite seem to work. But if you assign a smaller set of people to be orderlies, then it works better.
Okay, let's have a go at that. Because I think that we're currently in the everyone does this. Right, well, let's say only selected do this, and get our accomplished suturers and great suturers. Given what we've got by way of suturers, I probably don't need to select every accomplished suturer in the business, in the fortress. Let's see if that does any better. Not yet. Right, a water buffalo bone buckler has been made. Excellent. Which now means I can start. I can go. Where do you engrave slabs these days? Oh, maybe we do that in a stoneworker's workshop. Ah, we do. Right. Well, we definitely know that Zuntir Asmilzalis needs a memorial slab. I mean, probably anything that sounds vaguely dwarven towards the bottom of this list. Well, we do at least have 2 apply cast jobs there. They don't appear to be assigned to anyone. We have a lever now. Let's link that lever. Oh, we need more mechanisms, yes. Actually, what I could do is everything here is either a forbidden thing dropped by a goblin or part of a goblin. So unless there are some actual goblin heads, which obviously we want to do our very best to stick on spikes or pedestals, but I don't think there are. I think we've largely avoided beheading the goblins this time. Oh, there's a head, right. Let's forbid the head. And that head. Then we can just mark all of the remaining things for dumping, and only the forbidden things will actually get dumped. Only the unforbidden things, sorry, will actually get dumped. And that will be all the dead bits of goblin, and then we can send someone out here to collect. Then we can unforbid the weapons and armour and collect them separately. Right. So add dumping to anything that's unforbidden in that area. Oops. So now if I select one of these big piles of things, that's marked for dumping, but it's forbidden as well, so nothing's going to happen to it, I hope. And that corpse is marked for dumping, but isn't forbidden. Right, let's see if that works properly. Meanwhile, let us have a look at this new water buffalo bone buckler. It's known as Lonesome Rider's The Inconsiderate Heaven. It is a water buffalo bone buckler. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with cushion-cut green glass gems and encircled with bands of cow leather and cave spider silk. The object menaces with spikes of maple and green jade. On the item is an image of point-cut gems in water buffalo bone. On the item is an image of Feb Bolthall, the dwarf, and Kutzmoss Hellbraided, the goblin, in green glass. Feb Bolthall is making a plaintive gesture. Kutzmob Hellbraided is striking a menacing pose. The artwork relates to the mortal wounding of the dwarf Feb Bolthall by the goblin Kutzmoss Hellbraided in shoot test in the early autumn of 103 during Mogoskirk, the crazed assaults. On the item is an image of Lonesome Rider's The Inconsiderate Heaven, the water buffalo bone buckler, in apricot wood. So yes, it is a recursive artifact. I feel that we should assign that to the equipment of one of our surviving military dwarves. Where is your... Oh, there's your shield. You've got an iron shield at the moment. Well, instead... new shield. Can I not assign you a specific item? Was there a specific shield? That shield. Right. So do we have a decent number of dump item jobs turning up now? Yes, good. Aha, someone is applying a cast. Maybe. Well, I thought someone was applying a cast, unless I was confused. Down underneath zillions of jobs of disposing of bits of goblin.
I mean, there probably are quite a lot of those around.
Okay, there doesn't seem to be an apply cast job. Maybe someone got a cast applied and is now slightly better. They're still waiting. They still haven't had anything happen since Moonstone. Ah, right. Yes. So Erosh Lesastnish is actually only needs their right upper arm immobilizing now.
To reduce the sense of suspense, we won't reveal who. No, hang on.
Another alert. What's that about? Oh, right. Yes. We finally worked out where Zuntir Asmelzalis was. Yes. Right. Enormous quantities of dwarves coming out here to dispose of dead goblins.
That is a number of dwarves.
And all of them get hurled down into the rubbish dump. Well, there are a lot of bits of goblins. Like, we tended to punch their teeth out quite a bit.
Are you going to have to do some clever winching to recover the goblins from the bottom of the river?
Well, yeah, I'm not quite sure. We've got dwarves down there as well. And we can't, like, possibly... This river doesn't actually connect to the sea. So possibly we might be able to pump it dry well enough to get things out. But it's certainly going to be quite an effort. And that's kind of difficult because you need somewhere to put the water as you pump it out. So yeah, I'm not sure. How are we doing for mechanisms? That is still waiting for the manager to sort it out, right? Probably we should actually like fill up our squads as well, shouldn't we? If you're already captain of the guard, I really shouldn't put you into a squad somewhere else. I'm mostly sticking people who are marked as surgeons into these on the grounds that we probably don't need, we probably want to keep anyone whose best skill is something other than surgery. So yes, almost all of the dead goblins have been tidied up now. Right, we want a pair. Given the way the goblins always come in round this side, I think I'm going to make a couple of pedestals and put them at the head of the river with 2 goblin heads on as a warning. I don't think we've got any pedestals around at the moment, though. Oh, we have. Excellent. Okay, there's a bunch of teeth that are so far out towards the sea that I had missed them. Because they were... I don't think that square is even reachable. It's on an island. That tooth is going to have to stay there. I'm not going to build all the way out to that island just to retrieve a tooth. Right, so we now have some memorial slabs. Wonder if we should also put them around the... Is there a hole? Oh, what? There's a bunch of bits of goblin down here. Like 2 Z levels below the ground, but notably only 1 Z level directly below the river. And previously we found a goblin's head somewhere down here. I wonder if things falling into the water sometimes fall through the bottom of the through the riverbed. Well, I think I've marked all of those for dumping anyway. Right, so now we have a pedestal there. We can then take Osnan's Stodobengom's rotted head, unforbid it, unmark it for dumping, and then see if we can place it on this pedestal. Can we not place heads on pedestals? That seems unfortunate. So we can appear to be able to place... So the search doesn't seem to find it, but we can find body parts in general. Not forbidden, not marked for dumping. Why can't I select that then? Is it the fact that it's rotted or rotting? I suppose it is notable that there doesn't seem to be anything rotting here. Right, we definitely have some goblin heads available, though I don't know where those are. That's the one in the tree, I expect. A tooth on a tiny island, yes. Well, we'll just save the rotted heads for now until they turn into skulls. Oop. Right, so that's all of... Oh, I found a spare dead goblin. I was going to say that's all the dead goblins disposed of, but no, there's a spare one. Lurking on the edge of the map. Right, so now I think we can unforbid everything else that's lying around, or rather undump, because at the moment it's all marked for dumping, but is forbidden. So we go remove dump marker from everything in that area, and then unforbid everything in
Hopefully roughly the same area.
that area. I think I might have got that slightly wrong, so let's have a look. Oh, right, yes, stop being in that mode. Right, yes, we've still got, I missed a patch of things we don't want dumped up there, so. We do want that tooth dumped though. Right there. So now there's a bunch of armour that's available, and weaponry and what have you. Like some of it probably wants melting. Like badly worn copper helm. Yeah, it's an inconvenient user interface. Oh no, I can click there, can't I, to go back? That's better. So let's melt anything that's significantly worn. We might get some copper out of it we can do something with. I think on average slightly, but for the most part I think their armour is interchangeable.
I noticed the size for goblins. I was wondering if that was why you won so handily against the same number of people with greater skills. Maybe they're skilled but tiny or something. I think on average they're a bit smaller. And probably lighter even when they're the same height. I mean, like melting this stuff down is not going to be very profitable, but now there's a phenomenal amount of armour that needs to be taken in and sorted. Right, no one is now lying around in the hospital, so I'm going to assume that means that they have been adequately patched up.
Oh, we still seem to have some walls here that need to be assembled. Was there some reason why I took those walls out then? Like, that looks like I've built the walls and then demolished them. Well, I'm sure I'll remember why. After I've rebuilt them all. And we've apparently got lots of porcelain bricks, so we can finish porcelanising all of these walls. Okay, we don't probably want to remove the marcasite because we can't do anything with marcasite. Assuming this is all kaolinite and none of it's bauxite. Of course, this will cause some slight flooding of its own. Right. So, have we got enough mechanisms yet? Oops. No. I mean, there are some dwarves who manage to drown out at sea. Well, this river doesn't actually connect to the sea, so I don't think they can be swept there from the river. Presumably at least some things are going to get filed in these bins in the second-hand clothing store. Yes, the ones that aren't like useful armour. Right, so those goblin heads have now finished rotting. Maybe now I can put them on pedestals. So they belong to Ngom Eguosta. It's a slightly more memorable name than the other one. Can I just type Ngom? No. Well, let's see if it's listed under body parts now. Ngom Eguosta's head. Excellent. The other one is Osnum Snodognom. I think a lot of the heads are inconveniently inaccessible, but we can have a look for them later. Osnum is the name I think we're looking for, unless I've already forgotten it. Osnun Stodmgnom. Right.
Yes, I wonder if the reason goblins don't manage to coordinate well in battle is they have so much difficulty shouting each other's names.
Yes.
Whereas dwarf names are they're pronounceable, but the dwarves have difficulty not giggling.
There's still only one. Oh no, there's another bin there that's got. So yes, we are stuffing the non-armour clothing that we found into the bins for selling to the next traders that come past. Right, well, let's start building replacement walls here. May as well collect that kaolinite while it's exposed. There are things to do other than fetching goblinite. You can build new bedroom walls for people.
Decorate it with lots of goblin weapons.
Oops. Probably, let's turn on keep building. Typing BNL repeatedly is getting boring. Actually, there's still more. That could be mined there. Some of these seem to have got suspended, probably because people were standing on the squares when they were meant to be being built. Well, that's used up quite a lot of my stock of new porcelain bricks. Right, maybe now we can connect those levers to those floodgates, that lever to that floodgate. Aha, excellent. Right, now can we also build another lever? Yes. So, okay, we've got quite a lot of item blocking site problems as a pile of objects got tangled up. But now we have actually managed to sort out a set of bedrooms, none of which has any kaolinite in its walls. Right, and now we have a siltstone pedestal with a goblin head on it, and and a shale pedestal also with a goblin head on it. Right, good, which is the closest we can get to putting heads on spikes at the entrance to the fortress. What's going on with that square?
The fortress is the best place to have object lessons to goblins. You'd think the part of the map where they come on.
Well, actually, it's not actually at the entrance to the fortress. It's at the point where they mostly cross the river, which seemed like the appropriate place.
I suppose, but the point where they're about to deliver an ultimatum before they get that far.
Actually, let's also move the caged goblin to be on an island in the river, because I think that's amusing.
You were talking about, joking about making a lava pit at the point where the goblins come onto the map. What would happen if you left a squillion cage traps there?
I don't know. I mean, I think they might move. They might arrive somewhere that wasn't full of cage traps. They might just arrive and immediately all fall into the cage traps. We could try.
It would strike me as entertaining. Like, we're about to have some peaceful diplomacy. Oh, 10 of us have fallen into cage traps. Now what do we do? Is that an act of war?
We found a square full of goblinite that hasn't been harvested yet. Let's mark anything easily melted. Probably we should be like melting arrows and such like, because we don't have much use for those.
A hungry head.
It's some kind of weird underground creature.
I'm just wondering, when a hungry head hasn't been fed for a while, it's a hungry head, and therefore will only eat marbles.
It's possible, yes. Right, so that lever has now been installed, so now we can link that to the floodgate next to it. And then we can start actually letting some water into this drainage system, which I'm determined to do before I go to bed. So let's work on how we're going to connect it. So my kind of idea. Oh dear, someone starved a reindeer calf. Is that we have where we want to let the water down, we have a staircase and a parallel like drain pipe thing. This is going to be a bit awkward because I've put things in the wrong place, but we'll see. No, that's not the button. So let's try to construct a staircase down from there to there, except we can't actually do that because we're in open space there. So we'll need to build a staircase up to there. Okay, how do I... So I can't mine... Okay, this is going to be awkward, but apparently I can't build a staircase upwards to somewhere I haven't seen. So I have to dig the staircase up to there. Let's temporarily undesignate that and redo it as an ordinary just up staircase from there then. Oops, that's still in the wrong mode. In building staircases mode, then head down to there. Well, that'll do. Oops. Right, so that lever is now linked. So then once we've done that, then my idea is essentially that we dig a vertical shaft there. I should choose somewhere to install all of these memorial slabs, shouldn't I? Those should probably go, those should go in our main temple actually, shouldn't they? See you.
Have good drainage.
I'll try. Well, that's 4 slabs that have been made and are being set up. And those levers are now connected. Now we just need a miner to turn up to get us into a position where we can start letting water into this drainage system. Here they come. Right, so that's the first thing, a hole that drops down to there. Right, so now what we have is a staircase and adjacent to it an open hole. So now let's install a hatch at the top of the staircase to keep the water out of the staircase. Oh, we can't do that. Okay. Let's dig a small corridor that way, simply so that we can install the floor hatch and the grate for letting the water down. So now, while we're waiting for that next bit of mining to be done, we can probably install a grate at least. Where do grates appear? Do they count as machines? No, they're not that exciting. Oh, they're constructions, aren't they? Right, so we should open the floodgate. Oh, we should. Oh, yes, we should open that floodgate, and then we should actually cut a hole through the wall. That's fairly easy, and then we should build a bridge over the hole. Which admittedly we could do from below, but I'm trying to do this in a way that will still work after we've built the thing. Right, now we could build that hatch cover. There, to keep the water out of the stairwell. We're obviously going to want to pull that lever to make sure that when the water pours down here, it actually ends up in the pumping system. It doesn't immediately flood the lower layers. Right, so now that's connected up to where the pump draws from. Now we need to install a floor there so that that was a very long distance floor. Do we really not have? Oh no, distance 2, sorry. We've got 45 siltstone and the nearest one is 2 away. That's fine. We don't have to have good stonework down here. What's wrong with you? Have you been outside? Self-pity at being in the sunshine again. So that lever has been pulled and thus that floodgate is now open. What we're missing is a floor hatch to stop the water pouring down the staircase and a bridge over this hole here. Meanwhile, probably we have some memorials that I need to read because there's a tradition, which is that I read the memorials to dead dwarves, if I can. Yes, this is a microclimb memorial to Zuntir Asmalzalis. In memory of Zuntir Asmalzalis, born 15, drowned in the year 105, slayer of the goblin Stosbub Spray Devil. Memorial to Vabok Zabon Zonbavast, sorry. The slab reads, in memory of Vabok Zonbavast, born 46, drowned in the year 105, slayer of the goblin Ngerksung Cleaned Stolen, lover of high boots, which didn't save him. In memory of Zapas Tequiluxan, went missing in the year 102, slayer of the elf Eletha Pinescaled. Well, that didn't happen in my fortress. Memorial to Zas Dumatarust, born 38, drowned in the year 105. Lover of the Zephyr of Tresses. Yes, well, there was one of those that didn't actually drown this year and has been missing for a while. Possibly isn't actually a dwarf. Right. So who is currently drowned down here? Dumed Sodoslan. Well, that makes it a lot easier if you're allowed to search for the people. Zas Dumatarust, we just got them, didn't we? Ral Besmartost. Kerol Musudbim. Stukos Isethonol. One of my problems is going to be all this good armour that's disappeared down in the river. I've already forgotten the name I was after. Stukos. Have we done Stukos Isethonol? No. And Vabok Zonbavast. I think we've done Vabok Zonbavast, haven't we? Yes. Tossid Stetardonal. Right, you have to actually select that, apparently. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Athel Fashbesmar. I remember Athel Fashbesmar. Cog Uzareg. And Zunte Asmalzalis, who is already memorialised. Right. And see, there's another bit of flooding happening there, but I think it's probably not a problem. Right, and that's that floor hatch installed. So we have the floor hatch installed, we have the bridge over the channel that connects into the pump intake installed. The pumps are running. So I think it's now time to start letting some water into this system by digging through that wall there. So what should happen is the dwarf digs through that wall, water comes through it, but the water immediately pours straight vertically downwards through that grating, which the dwarf can't be swept through, and the dwarf can just calmly step aside and go down the perfectly dry staircase next door. That's the theory. Let's see if it works. Here is our dwarf in completely the wrong place. who thus has quite a long walk because at present the drain is not connected to the mine. Yes, indeed, I suspect wearing steel high boots is an excellent way to drown. Also not knowing how to swim, but we're going to fix that. No, really, we're going to fix that next time. Right, pausing now just to see what's happening. Why have I switched this off depth view? Oh, because I hit F at some point. And now there is water pouring down into the drainage system. Quite a lot of water indeed, which is fine. Right, there is a small child being swept into the drainage system, and if I've done this right, this will not harm the small child, because they will not go down the grate. If I've done this right. Where did the small child go? They're currently there. I'm going to watch this small child. See, small child neatly swept down the drain and did not drown. Excellent. Well, not swept down the drain, swept towards the drain and managed not to drown. Water is now pouring into the base of the pump. And occasionally lands there, but is fairly rapidly getting pumped away, as we can see by the fact that we keep getting water 1 of 7 and then nothing at all in that square. So I think we have some functional drainage. Let's see what's going on the surface. We're getting some slight flooding, like the river is overflowing a bit. My hope was that the water would all just disappear out to sea. What actually seems to be happening is that it's slightly overflowing the river. I think for now I'm going to assume that's not something I need to worry about. And meanwhile, we do seem to be fairly successfully draining that corridor. There seems to be a surprisingly large number of children playing in it, which seems a bit brave. What I can do actually, of course, is to lock that floor hatch now. On the grounds we don't actually want people randomly wandering through the drainage system. But that generally seems pretty good. Hooray! Similarly, that is an access to the drainage system and so should be forbidden. Well, it kind of is. Actually, it's mostly an access. That door should be forbidden, but I think it is. No, it's not. Forbid that door. That's actually an access to some not very useful mine workings. So I think now we probably want to head over here and build another connection. I mean, I'm not going to hang around and actually do this. Oops. But let's at least paint it. Right, so we appear to have a more or less functional, albeit, yeah, there's already water overflowing here. That doesn't make me very happy. I think there may be problems of a sort with water not flowing fast enough. So we get a hint of water on top of the access corridor. Still, everyone's happy about the waterfalls. Right, well, I think that's probably more or less enough. I mean, there's still some mining to go on and it's kind of fun, but it's utterly fine to start mining coal at this level. Like, I don't really want to cut great big mines in the lower level, but oh dear, what's going on? Are there some Kias or something? We have some giant Kias. I think they're stealing objects. Right, well, in that case I think we'll make the giant Kias a problem for later. Just see if I can find any of them. And not try to fix them now. So yes, we do seem now to have struck some lignite, which we might want to go off and mine. We will then cut this into a somewhat useful drainage channel. We might want to worry about how fast the water's coming in, but on the other hand it will slow down once we've reached steady state. And we can probably build more channels. and so feed water into this area from different directions. Like if we built another one out that headed over to collect the water from further down here, that might help. But we'll see. For now, we do actually have... a giant Kia has stolen a llama wool glove. Yes, right, there's the problem. Well, that's a pity, but not much to be done about it now. So I think we will leave things here and continue improving our drainage in the hopes that that we can keep bits of the fortress a bit drier, or at least bits of the mines a bit drier, and thus continue mining things at these layers. We'll see how that goes. Oh yes, and also drain that room and possibly that area, so that we can safely mine these aquifer layers by having a useful drainage system below them, if we can make it useful. We'll see. But until then, I think we'll leave that focused on the drain digging process. I will say good night. Good night.